I understand struggle. This is the aftermath of the enemy roadside bomb in 2007 that altered my reality in a ferocious way. I got a combo platter of struggle as of that day to include dishes like physical dismemberment, survivor's guilt, traumatic brain injury, crippling anxiety, cycles of panic, and the big ugly D, depression. We live in a world where many of us struggle with depression. About 60 million of us in the US alone, and that's not including kids and teens. Whether we are walking, wheeling, struggling to exist, struggling to survive, many of us are going through other big stuff like loss, illness, PTSD, abuse, financial insecurity, bullying, or addiction, to name a few. All struggles and all our own realities. Tonight I'll share how I came to understand struggle. Some research I did as a sample size of 1. And some of the lessons I've learned through that research and over 14 years of daily struggle. All while being a father, a husband, an advocate, a working professional, and continuously trying to improve with support by my side. I feel the need to share these thoughts and lessons because they're not helping anyone by staying in this thunderdome of a brain. It's my hope that we can be there for one another. And also how I can share how we gain strength in struggle. To be there for one another. To recognize when someone or we ourselves find ourselves in struggle. 6 years after I was wounded in Iraq, that whole time before that, my mental health I pretty much neglected. So at that point, I was disconnecting from reality. I was drinking a lot. My legs were in a 6 to 9 pain range daily. I didn't really care about anything except for my kids. Just a motorized comatose. I didn't know what was happening to me because I couldn't see it. That's the thing with depression. I couldn't feel it either. It's hard for anyone to see someone who's depressed for that matter because, man, do some of us do a really good job of hiding it, which is both Oscar-worthy and exhausting. After more than a year, that corrosive fog finally cleared. Soon after, I chose to learn what had been happening to me because I knew that that fog would no doubt creep, manipulate, and collude its way in again later. So back as a teen, when I was first learning how to wrestle, I knew 2 things for sure. I was big and I was strong. Good strengths, right? Those 2 advantages were short-lived before a seasoned chap at wrestling, half my size, tossed me across the mat. When my face hit the floor, it was at that moment that I realized that wrestling is a learning, leveraging, thinking, and maneuvering sport. And I had a lot to learn. Over time, like with anything else we do, or situations we find ourselves in, we learn. We apply what we learn, and we get better. Or how clinical psychologist Jordan Peterson says, we extract from past lessons to structure the future. So I adopted the wrestling method to take on my depression, my physical and my mental struggles, to learn more moves, more techniques while I was in those spaces, while I was in those cycles, So that way, the next time, I could be more effective for myself, for my family, and to help others maneuver. A little more background on me, for those that like data and such. I'm not a numbers guy, I'm a feelings guy. I am a sociologist by degree and in practice. My work to be curious about culture, interaction, and human behavior never stops. People to me are like movies. And I love movies. So for example, at Worries in Quiet Waters, with the help of our program director, I evaluate, I select, and I place our nation's warriors and their loved ones in our programs. I then pair every participant with at least 2 other people for their time in Montana. I've done so in a manner that has been referred to as mojo, magic, and it's even been described as sorcery. Because over the past 6 years, out of the 1,500 warriors, guides, and volunteers that I've matched, about 30 were less than ideal. That's a 98% accuracy rate based on a key element of our programs, teaming people with people so they can thrive together. So I can safely tell you, I see this complex creature known as a person, to the point it feels like a curse sometimes. But at my core, as a person, I have this insatiable hunger to understand people, to understand their behaviors, and especially what they might be feeling. So that way I can help make their lives just a little bit easier when I can, or when I'm invited in. But behavioral psychologist Adam Grant says, you can impress people with your skills, but you earn their trust by standing for something greater than yourself. So 2 years ago, around the start of the pandemic, I decided to take those moves that I had been learning, the strength that I had been building, and I leveraged them as ammunition to aid me in my fight to grasp how depression can lead 22 veterans a day and 1 person every 40 seconds globally to leave the planet. I needed to explore that path, how someone could get to the point where they felt so undeserving of life, where existing was too painful to pursue, where they felt unworthy of love, or how shame had crushed their identity to the point where they believed in their heart that there was no other way forward but to shut their eyes forever. I decided to study this during one of my matches with depression. And here are the top things I do when I'm in it. It starts with me. As simple as that sounds, it starts with me. Right in here, right now, where it's hard. I acknowledge that big ugly D. I do not give it power. I acknowledge it. And over time, with practice, my reaction when it shows up has gone from, no, not again, to, you again. Then, much like survivalists say, either by profession or circumstance, you just begin. I make that first little move. I open my eyes in the morning. Don't matter how much sleep I got. I open my eyes in the morning. Then I turn over and I check my phone like most of us do. I sit up and I proceed with my day, no matter what it looks like. Then I call in support, some of whom are in this crowd tonight. But how can we see this stuff in ourselves or others? Here are some of my cues that you might be able to spot in yourself or someone else, because this is the kind of stuff that not even Leonardo DiCaprio can hide. Music is big to me. Big. Like one of my favorite guitarists likes to say, for all the ways it helps me deal. If one of my favorite songs comes on and I don't at least nod my head to the beat, something is wrong. I feel everyone deserves to see their names written pretty. It brings me great joy to do so and great joy to write. If I can't muster the little bit of energy it takes for me to do something that brings me great joy, my heart is in pain. If I hit snooze in the morning 17 times instead of once or 5, I shouldn't be this drained. If I haven't had a laugh like the kind that I have with my wife, like the veins sticking out of my forehead, I can't breathe kind of laugh in a few days, there is a glitch in the matrix. If my son builds a cool Lego set, especially if it's Star Wars, and instead of buddy, look at you, nice job, woo, dang. Instead, all I can muster is that's really cool, buddy. I am not okay. Overall, through depression, physical and mental struggle, I proceed with this really cool move I learned back when I was first learning to walk again. It's called one step at a time. What I've learned is it comes down to you. It has to start with you. Look at who you're becoming. Use the strength you have in those moments and believe in your heart how much stronger you're going to be after this. So I've shared how I wrestle with struggle, a little about my research in the void, and some lessons learned and how to maneuver. The last thing I'll give you, what is strength in struggle? Well, there's a word for how strong we're becoming. Y'all know what it is? Resilience. A powerful move that you can leverage to toss that nefarious opponent across the mat, no matter how big they are. Take it. Build on it. Make it a discipline. Then use it for yourself and others. Discipline and resilience are what we do to improve when it's hard. Thank you.